I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Brianna Jones.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew and Bree to like musical theater. And today, we have an extra special guest.
Oh, another special guest?
Oh, yeah.
Where do you keep pulling them from,
I don't
Jess?
know.
Where are they coming from?
Somehow I just lure them in with with Reese's Pieces. But please, join me in welcoming the amazing video creator, writer, director, and so much more, Patrick H Willems!
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for coming on. And I just want to talk about Prince for a bit because I do want to pre-context this before we get into this. I the only awareness I had of Prince before today's topic was literally the Muppets Tonight episode.
For shame. That's your only exposure to Prince?
It makes sense. It makes sense for Jess.
It kind of does, actually.
I'm a musical theater boy. I am contemporary music.
But Prince has got theatrics and
Seriously.
I know.
Come on, man.
It's been a blind spot. So when Patrick suggested this film, I was like, hell yes. Finally, I get to watch this. And oh my gosh, I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts, and I wonder if I grew up on it, I would have different thoughts. But Patrick, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about Albert Magnoli's film, Purple Rain.
And cue the music, Bree.
Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only want to see you bathing in the purple rain.
Purple Rain was written by Albert Magnoli and William Blinn, with music and lyrics by Prince, The Revolution, and The Time. It was released July 27th, 1984 by Warner Brothers Pictures. They're in the news lately. The film was commercially successful, grossing $68 million in the United States. In 2019, Purple Rain was selected by the Library of Congress for preservation in the United States National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. The plot of Purple Rain, if we can call it so, is a victim of his own anger. The kid is a Minneapolis musician on the rise with his band, The Revolution, escaping a tumultuous home life through music, while trying to avoid making the same mistakes that his truculent father. And the kid navigates the club scene and a rocky relationship with a captivating singer, Apollonia. But another musician, Morris, played by Morris Day, looks to steal the kid's spotlight and his girl. All right, let's talk about Purple Rain. Patrick, when did you first see this film, and were you a Prince fan first, or was this your introduction to it?
Okay. I'll try to make the story as short as possible.
Alrighty.
I first saw this film in the fall of 2006. Before that, I didn't have strong feelings about Prince. I mostly knew Prince from the 1989 Batman soundtrack, because I grew up watching the 89 Batman movie a lot, and famously Prince composed an entire album of songs for that movie, and two of them are featured in the movie. And so I was aware of Prince. I had no strong feelings about him, was not very well versed in his music because, he was not at his peak when I was getting into music as a middle schooler. That was kind of I feel like I started getting into music when Prince was known as the artist formerly known as Prince and was going by an unpronounceable symbol.
Yes.
And then the fall of 2006, my freshman year of college, my very first semester, I took a class called Musicals and the American Film Culture that was all about musicals.
Hey!
And I had never, despite seeing some of the really iconic film musicals as a kid, a lot of stuff like Rodgers and Hammerstein stuff, that kind of thing. I never thought I was into musicals, and then I took that class and was like, hold up, musicals fucking rule. I love these. I learned so much about the history of the genre. And I will say, musical theater remains kind of a blind spot for me, but musical movies I'm much more well-versed in. But the class was pretty extensive. And it wasn't just the classic MGM stuff. It got into more modern stuff. And one night, like our screening for the week was Purple Rain, and it was a transformative experience for me. I had never seen the movie. I'd probably heard the title song before, but I didn't really know the music from it. Also, the whole screening of just like everyone in the class, by the end of the movie, we're all like waving our like flip phones like back and forth there in the classroom. And I went back to my dorm room. I downloaded the album Purple Rain, and then I downloaded the entirety of Prince's discography, which is extensive. I'm even talking stuff like his like late 90s freeform jazz album, The Rainbow Children, stuff like that. And I just got deep into Prince. And I'll put it this way. I just recently picked up the Record Store Day reissue of The Gold Experience, his, I believe, 94 album. I think his last album, his first album released as the artist formerly known as Prince. So I am a big Prince fan, and it mostly started with that viewing of Purple Rain. So it's a movie that altered my taste in music, and it's a movie that I love.
Man, I'm jealous because at film school, like, the only things that we got screened were, like, Crash, because our teacher was friends with Paul Haggis, so I had to sit there.
Oh, that Crash.
Yeah, the bad one. Don't watch Crash, guys. Andrew, what's your connection to Prince? Do you have one?
Yeah, I like some Prince. I mean, I know like the big songs, like, Purple Rain and what it sounds like when a dove cries. I forget.
Little Red Corvette.
Yeah. Raspberry Beret. That's a good one. But I have not listened to the entire discography, and I didn't watch this movie until yesterday. So.
Okay, so I feel like we've got a good like Patrick knows this film, knows Prince, listens to it all. Andrew knows a little bit. I am the Prince novice walking into this film and baffled by the things I see. It is a baffling watch, and I'm sure the context of who Prince was as an artist and his impact, especially in the mid-20th century, would have painted this differently to me. But I'm just seeing a narrative like The Room, but if Johnny did actually hit Lisa.
Is it that
it's uncharitable, I feel.
I mean, I feel like it's basically just 8 Mile.
I have not seen 8 Mile, and I know I'm a Detroiter, and so that is, like, terrible to say. Bree's face right now, I can see it in her face.
It's literally always on TV.
Who has cable anymore?
Before that. How did you not see it?
Probably because the League of Our Own was on.
Are you secretly, like, 13 years old?
Maybe. Like, I was too busy watching Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals to, like, watch about contemporary artists.
The thing you gotta know about Jess is he's never seen anything if it's not a musical.
That's not entirely inaccurate, but not entirely accurate either. I talk about those films. I had to watch Crash.
Crash isn't a musical, but would probably be better if it was.
Yeah. I think that marked the end of Brendan Fraser's rise and the start of Sandra Bullock's rise at the same time. That's a wild movie.
I'm not going to go and get into Crash. I have a lot of things that I could say about that movie.
That's fine.
Wait, so basically, I'm going to be the Purple Rain defender on this episode.
I'm afraid to say that I was, but context-wise,
you gotta convince me because I'm in the middle here.
I double featured this with Pirates of Penzance, which is what we're covering next week. So those are two different vibes.
They are. So I will say again, I did not originally see this movie as a Prince fan.
Right.
This movie made me one. Because the thing that I think is very important to establish about this movie is that every 5 minutes or so, one of the greatest songs ever written is performed in the movie. It is... Look, the movie deservedly won an Oscar that is not around anymore for Best Song Score.
Yes.
Basically just like Best Movie Album. But I'm like, yes, this movie has narrative problems. Yes, it has a weirdly inconsistent tone that, swings wildly from like comedy to like really intense drama, sometimes within the same scene. But it is also the greatest fucking album ever made, and it's, I feel like that's an unimpeachable thing. It is like the last 20 minutes of this movie are so like ecstatic that I'm like, no one can argue with that. It's the best thing in the world. Like, genuinely, like, I last saw this movie in, sorry to just take over this episode.
It's okay. We'll rein it in. It'll happen.
I like Purple Rain a lot, but last time I saw this movie was in 2016. It was, I believe it was 5 or 6 days after Prince died. And right away, like in like less than a week after he died, AMC Theaters re-released Purple Rain in theaters. And I live in New York City, and I went to go see it that weekend at the AMC. Anyone? I don't know where you guys are based.
We were just in New York. Yeah, New York, Detroit.
Okay. So the AMC 25 on 42nd Street, the biggest theater in the city. I went to see Purple Rain there, and it like a sold out, packed audience. The last 20 minutes of the movie, the entire audience was on their feet, dancing for all of it. It was just a concert. It was one of the best movie watching experiences I've ever had. And again, the power of this movie and the power of Prince. And so it's a thing where I'm just like, I'm never gonna top that. Even like watching this movie again, nothing will ever reach the heights of that experience.
Patrick, sorry.
I want to butt in and say that I agree with both of you entirely. I think that the soundtrack is incredible, and Prince fucking rocks. But I think the issue I have is a lot of the songs don't really like feel like they fit into a story at all. So it ends up being like a concert movie more than a musical.
Yeah,
if
but
that makes sense.
David Byrne's Stop Making Sense doesn't have a subplot where he hits his girlfriend a bunch.
Yeah, so it's like a weird vibe where it's like you just want them to keep playing songs, but then sometimes they cut to like other stuff, and it's just like, I don't know if I care.
And some of the other stuff is great. Like anytime Morris Day is on screen, I am thoroughly convinced he is the hero of the story. Like I think that this is told from the villain's point of view. Like, and it keeps trying to convince me that Morris Day is somehow the villain, and I'm like, no, I want to root for him.
I mean, Morris Day is great. Morris Day and Jerome, one of the great screen duos of all time. Actually, you know what I just remembered? I did have a reference point for this movie before I saw Purple Rain.
Is it Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
It's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. A movie that I was really into when I was in like 7th grade. And I was a big Kevin Smith fan in like middle and high school. And in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, early on in the movie, they established, like, I believe Jay says that he and Silent Bob, like, modeled their whole lives after Morris Day and Jerome specifically. And then at the end of the movie, Morris Day shows up and they, like, dance on stage to Jungle Love. And so, you know, it's an influential film.
I'd say that Kevin Smith must have been high, but I know he wasn't.
Not at that time.
No, it's just a bafflingly weird choice.
Yeah. Well,
like,
I mean, I think that the thing that is like really key to talk about with this movie is that it is a semi-autobiographical film. It's the same thing that 8 Mile did. It's the same thing that was less successfully done with 50 Cent with Get Rich or Die Trying, which is the artist stars as as basically themselves in a like
the kid,
a loose retelling of their origin story, because it's like the First Avenue Club in the movie is the club where Prince like made his name and became famous in Minneapolis. Like Morris Day in the time were another band from Minneapolis. These were all like local acts. I will say a thing that has always fascinated me in it is that in the movie, Prince's character, the kid, has a black father and a white mother, but in real life, he's not mixed race. Both his parents are black. And I've always wondered about that choice, because a lot of people, based on this movie, then just believed that Prince was biracial, and he's not. And so
interesting,
because again, it like the point was to basically be like kind of based on, to an extent, on his actual life.
But the thing
It is an interesting choice, yeah.
it's a choice, but and the comparison to 8 Mile, I see what you're doing, but 8 Mile had a director with a vision that like 8 Mile was directed by the same one that directed LA Confidential, which is like a proper film with like a story. This is just one of Prince's music video directors that really didn't do anything outside of Purple Rain, aside from a couple Prince music videos. I feel like this is proxy directed by Prince in a way.
It pretty much is, but I think there are sequences in the movie, especially like the opening number,
Yes.
where like the filmmaking craft is like actually incredible. Like the editing of the opening sequence, the cross-cutting of the performance of Let's Go Crazy, jumping back in time to to the kid getting ready for the show, Apollonia arriving in the city and getting to the club, and just like the rapid fire edits of just like the intense like close-ups of people in the audience, of just like Prince backstage before the show. It's like as someone who just finished watching the whole filmography of Bob Fosse,
Yes.
I'm like, oh, there's like the editing rhythms remind me a lot of like All That Jazz and Cabaret and stuff like that. There's like I think there's, especially when it's just like doing like music and visuals, I think there's really incredible stuff happening, because this is like the really early days of MTV. Like the music video form was a very new art form, and yeah, I think there's, I mean, even just little things like the sequence where, or not even really a sequence, just like the brief scene when like Apollonia is in an alley out behind the club and is like lit by like these like thin shafts of like blue light coming down through the fire escape, and then you just have the kid like emerging above, coming down the fire escape, just like shot below from her perspective, and just he's only appears in these like quick cuts of like his feet and stuff like that until the motorcycle like kind of roars to life, and you get the like iconic action movie turn as he just like turns into the camera and says "Get on." It's like, I think it's awesome stuff. I think it's like it is deceptively well made.
I think those moments are really well made, but then there are moments like that style works in a scene like that. In a scene where you find like your house destroyed and your father about to kill himself, that's when that style and editing and things like that kind of just feels jarring and inappropriate.
Yeah, but I mean, Prince messed that house up afterwards. I mean,
He went full
he
Tommy
really-
Wiseau / Orson Welles / whoever we want to say on it.
I thought that was actually a pretty good part, though. I liked him smashing all the stuff. It was good.
So many jars of like canned goods.
What was in those jars?
I don't know. Fruit preserves that they were keeping for next winter.
Yeah.
I mean, look, to be fully clear, I think it's a pretty silly movie.
Yes.
But I'm not saying this is like high art, but I think it is very entertaining. And again,
Thoroughly.
every few minutes, one of the greatest songs ever is performed. I think, honestly, the biggest flaw in the movie, which is something that I find kind of hilarious, and it doesn't actually really bother me, is when in the kind of like the, I guess, like midpoint, actually for a lot of the first 2/3 of the movie, the owner of the First Avenue Club keeps talking about how the kid isn't bringing him in like they used to, like he used to, and like his music isn't as good as it used to be. And then you've got stuff where like everyone is like, oh my god, you're losing the crowd. Like what the fuck was this performance? This was like this was weird shit. The music is bad. I'm like, if he actually performed Darling Nikki like that, like for a live audience, they would be losing their minds, and there would be like a line like you know, down the block to the next state. There is no universe in which people would watch that and not be into it.
But you can't have him perform poorly on
know,
purpose,
but that's
because
the
no
funny
one
thing.
wants to see that.
Right. It's just so funny to watch this incredible performance of these amazing songs and have the audience be like, I don't know what that was. That was bad. It's so funny to me.
You lost me. You lost me on that one.
I do also appreciate, and I was talking to Andrew about this earlier, that the villains are still equally as talented as Prince. Like, they aren't, like, comically bad performers either. Like, they seem like an actual proper threat to Prince or the kid.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can see like the time is, doing like a more obviously crowd-pleasing show. No
Right.
one's writhing around shirtless and humping the speakers.
But they don't have them perform badly on purpose, which is something like a less subtle movie would do, I
Less
think.
subtle.
Well, yeah, it's hard to say subtle with this one, but I suppose that would be how you'd say it. I don't know.
I mean, they're real bands.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that is the thing. And
I was impressed. The dancing the Time was doing, I'd be into it.
and also the thing is, whenever the Time performs, they also have all these people in like up in like the rafters and in the audience, all also doing the dance. It's like they have hype men like throughout the club just to get everyone really into their new dance moves. It's so good.
great.
I mean, the move when they're doing Jungle Love, when Jerome comes out just to hold up a mirror for Morris, it's
Isn't the lyric like "get a mirror for me" or something, and then it comes out and also.
they have like honed that act so perfectly. It's like I would absolutely go see the Time.
I agree with everything we're saying, but there's still a movie around it. Like, if this were just a concert film with, like, a slight plot around it, I think this would be even more adored. It would be played, like, on every screen they could put it on at all times. I don't know. But then again, that might turn people off.
The part where he drives the girl to the lake and then tells her to jump in.
He doesn't
Excuse
do
me.
that.
Like, what?
He does not
She
do
says
that.
she has to purify herself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Yes.
And she just assumes that that's Lake Minnetonka. So she gets topless and all the way down to her skivvies and then just jumps in. And he's like, that ain't Lake Minnetonka. And then he...
Yeah, so like, what the fuck? And then he just drives away and's like, okay.
you can get on.
dude.
And there's like a Three Stooges bit where she tries to get on freezing cold and soaking wet.
It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, and I could not figure out what the hell they were going for.
And that's
it's like, am I supposed to? Is this like charming? Am I like, oh man, Prince? He's such a goofball. What's
The
going
kid,
on?
not Prince.
I mean, it is. It's so weird, and it's one of those things where the first time I saw it, it was very much like that scene was. I was very much like, this is weird. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of funny. And now having seen the movie like I don't know 5 times, I'm just like I'm just fully into it. It is, and to be clear, look, I'm fully aware this is a movie that does not treat the female characters especially well.
Or there's like 2, 3, maybe 2.5 female characters.
Well, there is the woman
do at
that,
least
that
get their
Jerome
song they wrote
throws in
played.
Trash.
Oh, you're right.
That's a good scene.
Again,
I remember that.
It's one of those things where I recognize what is problematic there. I also recognize that picking up a person and throwing them into a dumpster is objectively funny.
It is funny, and he's supposed to be the bad guy, right? So
He is the bad guy.
So it's like you could kind of forgive the movie for like, the bad guy does a bad thing, okay,
Yeah, but then the good guy
I think
does
we, the
bad
audience,
things.
I think we, the audience, are supposed to be laughing with him in that scene, though. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, again, it's a movie from 1984.
I completely agree. But compared to the things that we're used to, the fare that we're used to, seeing Prince try to finger a girl, like, while beautiful wind hits them, it's just like, man, I don't see this on this show very often.
You don't. I mean, this is part of what's fascinating about the movie to me, that like this was, I mean, Prince was successful and it was like pretty big before this, but Purple Rain is what like the movies and album together are what like took his career to a new level. That's what like made him like one of the biggest artists in the world. And it is like kind of a ballsy move to be like, okay, my huge star vehicle is going to be a movie where I am often unsympathetic and I'm basically like a dick to my whole band. I spend most of the movie refusing to even consider playing a song that my bandmates
Like in
wrote.
like a rude way too. Like, oh no, get this garbage out of here. I'm not listening to that.
How would you do that to Wendy and Lisa? Here's a fun fact. Back in, I think, in college, for a couple of years, my ringtone on my phone was the intro to Computer Blue, which is the Wendy, yes, Lisa, is the water warm enough? And so on. I really had a big Purple Rain phase.
Patrick,
but
I got a
Go ahead.
question for you, and I wonder, like, Bree, you're in the room. I want to know if this move would work. Did you ever bring a girl home and just turn on the radio and it's just women moaning? Like, did you do that? Is that a move?
excuse
In
me,
reverse.
You mean crying in reverse?
Yes.
Yes. Sounds like laughing.
You know,
That's a move.
I never did.
I think Prince
gotta
is the
say-
only person who would try that.
Well, this is the thing. I think this is a major thing about the movie. It's that, you know, whether you're looking at the Lake Minnetonka scene or the weird, here's my backwards recordings of women crying.
But I just
Prince-
have.
Yeah. Well, because he had also, like, you know, there was, like, you know, beats behind it. He was clearly, like, you know, using that in some kind of, like, musical creation. But Prince has this fascinating screen presence, I think,
Yes.
where because he's a short little guy, like, really tiny. Part of why he wore high heels was just to give himself a couple more inches. But like, in the Lake Minnetonka scene, he has this sort of, like, impish charm. He's just like a weird little, like, trickster who's, like, I don't know, like 5'5" or whatever. Like, he's shorter than Apollonia. And because, like, a lot of the movie is just him, like posed, just him, like, like he basically attracts Apollonia. Obviously, you know, any human being walks in and sees him performing "Let's Go Crazy," and I would imagine they would throw themselves at him. But then he just like stares at her in like with, like, you know, his back very straight, and he'll have, like, often his sunglasses on indoors in the club, and he like. There's all the stuff with him in the dressing room with the band where he has, like, puppets
Yes.
and stuff, and he'll do, like, kind of ventriloquism and just, like, talk to his
He had
his
that little
band.
cone with the puppet inside of it.
He's such a weirdo.
And he has the puppet say, like, asshole things to his bandmates.
He does.
That's okay. It's Jeff Dunham thing. If the puppet says that, like, I'm not gonna get in trouble.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, the movie is basically him realizing that he should stop being an asshole.
Is it?
I
mean,
feel like
the climactic
that is
scene
a lesson, right?
Yeah, you know, he basically realizes that he can't be like his father.
But then dedicates the song to his father.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, there's the thing where, because, like, there's the part when he comes downstairs to the basement and his father is playing the piano, and he asks his father if, like, he ever, like, wrote any of these songs down. He's like, no, like, I wouldn't do that. That's, like, you know, I don't need to write them down. I'm the best. I've got them all in my head. And then, you know, he realizes, oh, his father did write all this. Like, his father, like, was so obsessed with, you know, with keeping up this facade of, like, you know, like, strength and masculinity and toughness and anything, could never show any fragility at all, could never let anyone in.
Toxic
and, you know,
masculinity, all that.
Exactly. And like, was lying about writing the songs down. And he's, you know, I'm not saying it's, like, really elegantly done, but in the end, like, the climax is basically him having to, like, apologize to people and realize that he cannot continue on the, like, toxic behaviors of his father. He makes up with his band by realizing, like, oh, I don't, you know, I shouldn't be a control freak. Like, I should be collaborative and let other people in. And then he wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story about
It's
an
there.
impish little man who you know, loves fluffy shirts.
Hell yeah.
Pirate shirts.
Yeah, yeah. And he never stops wearing it. One little touch before we move on to our next segment, I do want to bring up that baffled me at first, but kind of became, like, one of the more compelling parts of it, is the fact that he still lives with his parents. I don't know why. That just kind of was like Prince still lives with his
He's
parents.
an artist. You think he's making money?
I mean,
a fair point.
guys, I thought about I have a theory now that I formed on this viewing.
All right.
So, Prince is a struggling musician. He's, like, doing okay. He's got a band and everything. They're, you know, they have an audience, but he's still living with his parents. So, you know, he doesn't have, like, a record deal yet, but he's making some money. And I believe what is happening here is that while he could be saving up the money he makes from the gigs and maybe getting his own place, getting his own apartment in Minneapolis, Instead, he put all of his money into buying a custom motorcycle with his logo on it, and that is that is what he did instead of
How much
paying
do
rent.
custom fitted purple suits go for, you know?
That's a great question. Unless that, I don't know, maybe that was just the style in Minneapolis at the time.
You go into any menswear store and it's just purple suits everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Purple suits with the pirate shirt.
Exactly. Like, big like Dracula collars on them.
The most unrealistic thing about the movie is that everyone else wasn't dressed like that.
I wish. I want to live in a world where we all dress like that.
I'm seeing an average price of $500 for a purple suit.
Okay, wait, are we talking like just like regular like two-piece suit? Or are we talking
Yeah, are we
like
talking like
Prince
Joker suit or are we talking Prince suit? Yeah.
This is like a suit you would wear to prom.
Okay.
So not
That's
great.
not quite.
So
I'm going to say
not great.
at least triple that
Yeah, I
for
want
the
like
Prince
giant
suit.
purple leather jacket.
For
Okay.
1984 times, $500. That might be a little different. That might
That's
be
true.
So $500 might be on the money for 1984 money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Dollars actually meant something back then.
What are we living in 1984 nowadays? All right, how about we compare our opinions to those of the New York Times and other critics out there? It's time for our favorite segment. It's Reviews, where Bree reads reviews.
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
So, I wanted to find some of the more interesting reviews, and I didn't want, like, people looking back. I wanted it, like, the week it came out, and Roger Ebert famously loved this film when it came out. He was, like, calling it...
Smart guy.
Yeah, Roger Ebert put it in his top 10 of 1984, compared it positively to the Paul McCartney's film that he made the same year, had a lot of good things to say about it.
Roger, vindicating me.
I wish he had actually written out a review so I could read it here, because it does scant. But this was on the At the Movies program where he said all this. He didn't do a written review for Purple Rain. So sadly, all the other big publications, the New York Times and the Washington Post, were not as kind. But I did want to start off saying that that Roger Ebert was very positive, and that this is just the two other ones that we've got. So Bree, what's the first one say?
Oh boy. Okay. It's been a minute since I've done this. Okay.
Yes. We all get to take a break and just listen for a bit.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Okay. Purple Rain is playing in theaters, but it demonstrates the skills of the recording industry far more effectively than it does those of movie making. Though its women characters are supposed to be strong and independent, they are suckers for the men who knock them around with brutal regularity. In one of the dizziest of the film's non-musical interludes, the kid takes
Apollonia.
I have it spaced weird in here. Oh no. Apollonia for a motorcycle spin in the country, tricks her into skinny dipping while he, fully clothed, looks on, and then, when she tries to climb back onto the bike for the return to town, he maliciously teases her by pretending to drive away. Instead of belting him, as might be expected, she comes to understand his desperate longing for love and his inability, because of mom and dad, to give it. Where is Dr. Joyce Brothers when a kid really needs her?
Okay, I want to stop here, because during that paragraph, Patrick was laughing maniacally, almost like a Bond villain.
He relates too much to Prince. Have you been driving women out to the lake recently?
Look, this is my big move. It's yeah. Except I say you gotta
purify yourself.
Except in the waters of the Gowanus Canal here in Brooklyn. I'm kidding. That would kill a person. I'm not that much of a monster. No, I just think the Lake Minnetonka scene is funny. I think the name Lake Minnetonka is funny.
Where's Minnetonka? Where is that?
Anyone
is that
from
a real
Minneapolis gonna tell us?
It's a Minneapolis thing.
Fair enough. I think we kind of get the tone and timbre of that review. Why don't we move on to the Washington Post one, Brie?
Okay, this one's written like a college essay. It's pretty astonishing to find a performer of the kid's apparent magnitude still living at home, in a basement sanctuary where he's accustomed to seek refuge from the brawls of his parents. The key to the kid's personality is evidently the emotional turmoil he suffers torn between mom and dad, or between the feminine and masculine, to get ludicrously simple about it. which the movie empathetically does. The parents, played by Olga Karlatos and Clarence Williams III, who actually projects the image of an embittered disillusionment far more impressively than the inane material deserves, remained strangely oblivious to the luminary in their basement, since they're too busy trading insults and punches. The script, credited to Magnoli and William Blind, never begins to dramatize the hero's Freudian conflicts adequately, but it perhaps more entertaining to watch such a brazen attempt at schematization. Schematization.
Love these big words.
Yeah, this one was just a lot of big words to try to hide. Like, I don't like that there's like drama to this music film. I really find this one specifically condescending in a way that the movie doesn't deserve.
Speaking of media about this movie from the time, have you folks ever seen the MTV special from '84 about the premiere, like the world premiere of
What
Purple Rain?
happened?
I mean, it is such an incredible time capsule. You've got like, Eddie Murphy and all these people showing up just like to see the movie and being interviewed. A lot. Real cocaine vibes from that event, and it's just, I'm sure it's on YouTube, but it's really worth watching.
Bree, play a clip of it right here. All right, wow, wasn't that an insane clip? Cocaine, am I right? But I think we need to move on from the literate folks over there at the New York Times and the Washington Post to the true critics of the internet. It's time to compare our opinions with those of the insane folks at letterboxd.com. It's time for Reviews Part 2, 1 star, 5 star. All right, Patrick, here's how it is. You're going head-to-head with Andrew right now.
I just posted my new Letterboxd review an hour ago.
I don't think
Is it a 5 star?
No, it's 4 stars.
Damn, can't win it. So, this is a binary. We are going to read you a full review, and these are all real reviews from letterboxd.com, and you have to guess, just based on the content of the review alone, was it a 1 star or a 5 star review? And you and Andrew are head-to-head. Whose team do you want to be on, Bree, Patrick, or Andrew's?
Patrick.
All right, Patrick, you and Bree are up against each other. You guys go first.
Okay, let's get a good one. 1 star for each time I cried! Exclamation point. Is that a 1 star?
I'm going to say it's a 5-star review.
It is a 1 star.
But they cried?
Yeah, these are, yep.
One time. They cried once,
They cried
apparently.
one time, apparently.
But that's okay. We'll get them next time.
All right, Andrew, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Prince did not have one ugly person in his band. He said bad bitches only.
5 stars. 5 stars.
That is correct.
Oh no, okay. Let's see. They just put a sad face. Like, colon, sad face.
That's the whole review?
Just a sad face.
I'm assuming it came out when he died. 5 stars?
Yeah.
That is some.
That was a good assumption.
That was a good
yeah.
one. All right, Andrew, you ready?
Yeah. I don't think nearly that deeply about them. I just go with my gut.
I love this like I love Superbad. I knew Patrick would get fucked up by that
Do we have
one.
any context on that one?
Nope.
Okay. 1 star.
That's a 5 star. They love Superbad, and they love this.
They
just
love
like it.
Superbad.
I'm assuming
okay.
these are not like the highest rated or like most popular reviews for the movie.
He digs through for the garbage.
Well, I'm very lucky
I, was gonna
that
say, I would not have clicked like on these reviews.
the best thing about Letterboxd is that you can arrange from highest reviews to lowest reviews. So I just make 2 tabs. I'm like, what's the most insane one on this one? All right, that's going in.
Sometimes you literally just can't tell.
Yes.
They'll post a review like, this was the best movie I've ever seen. 1 star.
Because if you change your review later and don't like update the text, it'll just change the score without changing your review. It's great. I love Letterboxd.
It's a funny place.
It is. Okay. I love my short king.
5 stars.
That's a 1 star. We don't really know why.
Unbelievable.
Letterboxd makes no sense. All right, Andrew, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You could never make this film today because Prince would have to wear a helmet when driving his motorcycle, and that would make him look ridiculous. Yeah, that would make him look ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what it would be. 1 star?
That's a 5-star.
Fuck me. I don't know. Like, what do
You
you
couldn't
like,
make
what
it
is that?
today because he'd have to wear a
What
helmet.
is this boomer shit?
I'm just saying I'm not gonna follow any of these people.
I couldn't either. Okay, this one says, "This is my Mac and me."
Mac and Me is not a good movie.
Mac and Me
I
is a
don't know.
great movie. What are you talking about? It's better
It's
than
pretty
E.T.
funny. It is pretty funny.
I've watched it so many more times than E.T.
I mean, I don't know, 1 star.
5.
Yeah,
We don't
I
know.
was trying to do this like circular logic thing of being like, well, Mac and Me is bad, and so maybe they mean that it's bad unless they ironically love it. And it's like none of these make sense. I hate
Letterboxd?
I'm deleting my account.
What is Purple Rain's a wheelchair off the cliff scene?
I'd call it the Lake Titicaca scene or whatever it is. No pun intended. Now that I've actually said that.
Actually, that might be it. There's one moment I've always found. It's a very serious moment, but I always found it a little bit funny. It's near the end when he like bursts into his parents' house, like looking for like he can see that there was like signs of violence, and he's like going through the house and he's really angry. And I believe he shouts, "Where are you, motherfucker?" And then he like, and it's in a wide shot, and he says that, and then he just kind of spins around, and it's because his movements are like very precise and like kind of dancerly. And I always kind of loved the toughness of that line delivery, and then like the gracefulness of his little spin.
He just does a little twirl.
I love that so much. I was gonna pitch the penultimate shot, the second to last shot, which is just him twerking. Second to last shot of the film, just his ass. 10 out of 10. I forgot whose turn it is.
I believe it's Andrews.
I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is my turn, I believe.
All right, Andrew, you ready?
Yes.
Bizarrely accurate representation of show business. Watching people switch back and forth between exhibiting otherworldly talent and being detestable pricks.
5 stars.
That is correct.
Oh, I actually got one. That is like the second one.
You're in the lead by 1 point, Andrew.
I got literally one.
That means you're only 1 behind Andrew. You can still win this, Patrick.
Oh, I thought that was the last one.
No.
We have
No.
plenty.
We got a
Don't
couple
worry.
more. Don't worry.
I'm like, I feel like I'm just losing my sanity as this game goes on.
You're not the first.
You have to turn your brain off to like understand
Gotta
what
meet
some of
them
these
at their
reviews even mean.
IQ level. You're too smart for this game, Patrick.
I'll
Ready?
try to be dumber.
Just rewatching the computer blue part again as part of my daily ritual.
5 stars?
That's a 5 star.
Oh, we tied this
God.
up.
Oh,
All right, Andrew, we gotta win this back.
no, you
Okay.
don't. You don't have to.
I want.
Give me an easy one then.
I want what Morris and Jerome have.
You know, if I had buddies that would pick up women that were like talking to me and throw them in a dumpster, 5 stars.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we're. I think like one more each, and then I think we can wrap this up.
These
Okay.
last two
Yeah.
actually kind of made sense.
Yeah, it was like there was like a level of logic to them that I'm like, wait a second.
Exactly. Like I can sense actual like positivity from the text there.
Well, here's one that I don't know if it makes sense. Prince is so gender.
You can say that about anything, really.
I feel like this is when like Gen Z kids say like something is aesthetic, and it's like that's a noun.
Oh yeah.
That's
It's like, what do you mean?
I
an
think
adjective that doesn't mean anything.
I think I know what they mean. I think they mean that Prince is every gender. Like, so instead of like such a
Well, I
man,
mean,
such
the
a woman,
opening
it
lines
is like
of "I Would Die for You" are "I'm not a woman, I'm not a man."
so gender.
Yeah, it's not.
That is a very gender thing to say.
Let's say I don't know. Let's say 5 stars again.
It was a 1. Don't really know why.
Prince is too gender.
I felt
Well, I
like
mean-
Jess was leading you in the wrong way. I don't know if you could see me
People-
giving
people
you
don't
evil
like-
eyes.
People don't like gender. I mean, come on.
I still genuinely don't know if being gender is good or bad.
Me neither.
According to this, it's bad.
Yeah.
That or the Prince is so gender thing, excuse me, is unrelated to how well they liked the movie.
That is, I think, the most likely situation.
All right, Andrew, you ready?
Yeah.
I only watched this because of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Well, they made it sound like an obligation, so I'm gonna go 1 star.
That is correct, and you have 1 reviews today, Andrew. Congratulations.
Sorry, Patrick.
Patrick, you're gonna kill it next time when you come on. I know it.
You know, it's not really an achievement. Like, you don't get to brag about winning this.
This is
You know?
I know. I feel like I genuinely feel like your brain has to be broken to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like if I ever do this again, I will just guess what feels like the wrong answer for everything. And I
you
guess
see,
that's
you
the
can't
key.
even do that. You can't even do
Yeah.
that. It's a problem.
It's
Because sometimes what you feel like is the wrong answer is still the wrong answer. And it's like, wait.
I can't believe how much this stressed me out.
I'm so sorry. You are
It,
not the
like-
first person to say this either.
Nothing makes sense.
What were the highlights? What review did you like the best?
Would you give it a 1 star or a 5 star?
You know what? I've forgotten most of them already, and I think I'm better off that way.
Prince is so gender. On that note, how about we take a little break? We go into a mid-show. All right. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you. Andrew, tell us a little bit about Patreon and what we got up there.
Oh man, Patreon is where you can go if you want to give us a little money. We have some patron only commentaries. You can get our episodes early, you can get video versions of our episodes, and there's just a lot of extra content up on there. So, it's good
Video
stuff.
versions of the episodes. Right now, you could be seeing Patrick H Willems' face. And oh my god, he's doing backflips. Patrick, stop that! Get down from there! That's dangerous! Oh god!
That doesn't look very safe.
I just love
wouldn't- Get
acrobatics so
down.
much.
He's so into it. Oh, and I can just see right on the tip of his lips, he just wants to say, you guys should join Patreon. I see him wanting to say it.
Patreon.com/Patrick H Willems. It's
Ah,
really
he
great.
did it.
Go
Got
to
you, Jess.
support me.
I've been waiting for so long for one of these creators to do that. They have not done it until now. It has been so good. They're all like, yeah,
Genuinely
join-
the first thought I had.
Congratulations on being the first one.
I've set everyone else to do that in that same way. Everyone's like, yeah, join them, whatever. All
Clearly,
right.
those people are not the ruthless capitalists that I am. It's just
Yeah.
determined
Bunch
to
of
accumulate wealth at all costs.
Filthy commies coming on our show.
Oh my gosh. On top of that, like, don't you have like a film to promote on Nebula, like a streaming service that you made?
I figured I'd do that at the end.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, our current supporters are Melissa Goldman, Leighton Ackles, Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Monica Thoreau, Mina Maniri, Brent Black, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Mary Lou Choquette, John Van Nals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Kyle Summers, Jen A.C., Scoot in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Liz Liam, Alison Stoller, Nothing is Certain Except Beth in Texas, Thespian, Ren Colin, Raphael Martinez Salaz, Jessica T, Marchil Young, Chai Teacup, Katie McDonald, Timothy Keys, Chris Marcode, Mimu Kajib, Maria Anastasio, Layla, RJ Narija, Super Antelopes, Charlie B, Patrick Deering, Avery Brinson, Bjorn Hermans, Erica S, Toriana Frazier, Sammy the Most Lopez, Liana Morton,
fast.
Angela, Kaylee Blazier, Birdman69, Cinema Again Reviews, Villainous Smith, Sophia, Ali, The Omega Geek, I haven't read these ones as often, Katrine Evans, Paige Pearson, Maddie Wargle, Elena Resnick, Elisa Erdman, Anna Lokes, Kustova, I said it right last time, fucked it up that time, Jessica Viray, and Sarah Dan Blaker. They give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. If you'd like to join them in supporting us and get tons of fun perks such as Patreon-only commentaries or episodes a day early or even earlier, come join us over at Patreon. Also, there's a brand new commentary where me and Andrew watch the Camp Rock series. Let's get back to the show. So, the opening scene, Let's Go Crazy. Amazing opening to a film, no matter what comes afterwards.
Don't lie, the world you're living in. Take a look around, at least you got friends. I call my old lady for a friendly word. She picked up the phone, dropped it on the floor. That's all I heard. I'm gonna let the elevator break us down. Oh no, let's go crazy.
This is my favorite Prince song by a good margin, I think.
Really?
It's
Yes.
so good. I mean, it's up there for me. What is my favorite Prince song? Oh, I think my favorite Prince song is Mountains. It's not on.
I think I've heard
this
that
album.
one.
What's it go like?
It's
Yeah, ask him to sing it, my God.
It's pretty funky. It's off of Parade, which is the album from his second movie, Under the Cherry Moon, the like black and white period piece that he directed himself. But Let's Go Crazy is like, I think like one of the greatest album openers of all time. Like just, you had that opening like synth note and then Dearly Beloved, like the speech begins. It's the best.
It's great. In the movie here, it goes on for like 8 minutes, I think. It's like long. But
there's stuff in the music that's in the movie that's not in like the album version of the song.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was into it. It was a great start to the movie. Mm-hmm. I couldn't quite understand what was going on with the other characters joining in and whatever, just in the background, but you don't really even need to pay attention to that. Just listen to Let's Go Crazy, my God.
I mean, you can kind of turn your brain off whenever a musical number is happening and just kind of experience it, which is probably the biggest virtue of this film. Is as soon as like a song number starts, you're just in it. You're like on for the ride and let's go.
Yeah, and I think that the musical sequences are also shot really well.
Yes.
Like they don't cut too much. They, other than when they're doing their like stylized editing, but like they are like shot to highlight what Prince is doing at all times. A thing that I've heard about this movie actually is that apparently they had to reshoot some of the performance sequences. I think specifically the stuff like kind of in the middle of the movie, because the audience were told, act like you're not really into it, and they were too into it.
Oh.
They weren't able to do it.
And then they would like edit the scene, and it's like, well, all the characters are talking about how no one likes what he's doing, but the audience is going
It's just
crazy.
going crazy.
Patrick, here's a question for you. Like in all the musical numbers here, like the audience is obviously into it. Have you seen a movie moment where an audience is just like enraptured with a performer as much as like this in like recent years, like within the last 10 years?
In terms of like, we're talking recent movies in which
The energy matches this.
in which there's like a performance sequence.
Yes.
I'm trying to think now.
Because I've only got one in the back of my head, and like I'm like,
They've been doing a lot of these like biopic type stuff now, but I feel like they never really match the energy
I mean, there's
of
some
what
stuff
this
in
goes
Elvis where people
Yes.
are going pretty crazy.
yes. But the one where
for. Wait,
it feels
he's white?
yes, that is Andrew. We gotta cover
That's
that
the only
on the
scene
show.
I've seen. That's the only scene I've seen so far.
Wait, which scene?
The he's white?
Oh. I mean, because that has now like gone super viral on Twitter.
Yeah, it's so funny. I don't even understand what's happening. It's hilarious.
The thing is, it's all like that.
Yes.
The entire movie is pitched at that same energy. It
Have you
is
like
seen any of Baz
surreal
Luhrmann's other work?
levels.
me?
Yeah.
I had not every film, but I've seen a decent.
You've seen
I-
Moulin
I-
Rouge and Romeo plus Juliet.
Yeah, I mean, like Great Gatsby. I watched all of the Get Down on Netflix. I am versed in Luhrmann's work, and Elvis is a Baz Luhrmann film.
I thought it was toned down Lerman even when I saw it. I was like, man, there wasn't enough Lerman in that movie.
You think they could have gone further?
Oh, I do.
I mean, apparently there is a cut that's an hour longer.
I've released the Lerman cut.
So, but I mean, like the movie, my thing with Elvis is because I like it, but I don't love it. Because it is still in like so many ways, like it is like a serious version of Walk Hard. It is like hitting these like the annoying biopic cliches so hard, but then you have these sequences of like just utterly psychotic, like virtuoso filmmaking. Especially like, and some of the, I mean, like the scene when Colonel Tom Parker first sees Elvis perform, just absolutely crazy stuff. And even when the movie begins, and it's like, you think it'll begin with like, I don't know, Elvis about to go on stage and thinking about his entire life before he performs. And it opens up with like Tom Hanks dying in this bizarre Las Vegas fever dream. It is the first 30 minutes of Elvis are the kind of thing where I'm like, is this one of the best movies ever made? And it doesn't quite maintain that level, but you got to see it.
Yeah, the first 30 minutes is what I want the whole film to be, and I completely agree with you and all those things. However, there's only one thing that I want to get back to my original thought because I don't want to lose my pitch. The only thing that feels the same way as all these Prince scenes in relationship with an artist and their physical audience in the room is any song number where they're live on stage during the new Star is Born with Bradley Cooper, which is a very flawed movie. But when Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper are performing in front of an audience and you could just get the energy of the audience in that room reacting to what's going on, that is pretty magical in the same way that this is.
I'm trying to think because I really, really like A Star is Born.
Yes.
And I can recall like really great musical performance sequences. I can't remember the audience that much because like obviously like the Shallow sequence is like the most iconic one. And I remember that being very much just about like their connection there, and like the audience just seems. It's also like a festival because the audience is like further away.
I think they just performed at Coachella, so like anything that they do, you no matter what, you're hearing their reaction, whatever it is. Like if there's a note being sung or something like that, like the cheering, I'm like, okay, and it feels sporadic and the way it would at a concert, not like in Elvis where it's like these are the chosen moments where people would scream. And I feel like that is the brilliance of here. Like, we'll move on to Jungle Love, which I guess is like our villain song. Like, this is our friends on the other side.
You can call it a villain song.
You got a pretty car. I think I wanna drive it. I ain't place that I drive a little dangerous. Take to my crib, rip you off. Look out. I think I wanna know ya. True love. Yeah. Girl, I'd love to show ya.
Oh, Jungle Love.
I love the scene.
It's a good one. I like this song. I think it's fine.
It's a good song. I'm also just thinking about the whole thing of like, you see Morris Day going to the club, the way he like goes down the stairs from his home, like he's just a cartoon character.
Oh yeah.
And like I could see there being like a Hanna-Barbera sitcom or a cartoon just about Morris Day and Jerome just getting up to wacky adventures and like, you know, trying to like catch people in traps, throwing people in the trash.
Every episode ends with them dancing up on stage.
Exactly.
I want this. Like, not even that much. Just like guesting on Scooby-Doo, like the Harlem Globetrotters would. Like, it's Morris Day and the Time.
Scooby-Doo featuring Morris Day and the Time.
That would be good.
Yes, honestly, that would be the perfect venue for them post Purple Rain. Like, because what did they do aside of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Maybe they just stayed being like kind of like local celebrities.
Maybe.
And you know.
Well, there's a whole Wikipedia page about them, and
you don't get
apparently
those for free.
just this year there was an issue with the Prince estate where they're saying that Morris Day doesn't own the name of the time.
What?
Oh.
in any capacity. So they lost their trademark to it.
They should just change themselves to Moore's Day and the place.
Yeah, so I guess there were some issues with Prince owning them in a way.
Like in the way that he owned the Apollonia 6.
Yeah.
I will say, I think it's pretty funny that in the movie, the villain creates the band Apollonia 6, and in real life, Prince did it.
Yep.
Well, I mean, in real life, Prince created all of the bands that are in this movie.
He created a lot of stuff. He wrote a lot of music that, you know, he didn't record. You know, like obviously, like he wrote like Nothing Compares to You and stuff like that. Yeah, he's a prolific guy. There's the legendary Vault, where he just made like dozens of albums and like movies and documentaries that were never released.
But then there's that
Maybe
famous,
we'll get them.
like the Kevin Smith story where Kevin Smith was brought in to do like a Jehovah's Witness film for Prince.
Yeah, and he like made a documentary for him, and then he was like, "What's going to happen to it?" And they were just like, "Oh, it's going to go in the vault with all the other unreleased stuff."
Shit's wild. Man, Prince is a weird guy. I guess I knew slightly more than that Muppets Tonight scene, but that Muppets Tonight scene is really good. Have you seen it, Patrick?
Yes, I have.
That is pure insanity. I love it.
Well, like,
I think.
have you like? I assume you've all seen like the Chappelle Show episode with like,
the Charlie Murphy story.
Yeah, you know, game blouses and all that, and like cooking them pancakes and stuff like that. There's also the really good New Girl episode that Prince is on that actually like shot at his house.
Wow. And they turned
think
down Kim Kardashian for Prince. Like,
Yep.
If Purple Rain does anything right, it's that the weirdness and nonsense is just, it perfectly fits Prince's like aesthetic and vibe, you know?
it's a dive into Prince's mind for better and for worse. The bad, the good, everything.
Yeah.
It is.
It's just
him.
I feel like it embodies Prince in a way that nothing else really can.
Except for
like,
Bad
even his
Dance.
music.
Bat Dance. Hey, that music video directed. Oh wait, do you see right behind me? That is a print by Erica Henderson of Prince from the Bat Dance music video as his character Gemini, where he's like half Batman and half Joker.
Is that canon to the Batman DC universe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, he exists in his own Earth in the multiverse. But
And it's Prince.
yeah. It's the Prince verse.
The Prince world.
Yeah.
Prince world.
It's
Everyone wears purple and puffy shirts.
it's Andrew, have you seen the Bat Dance music video?
No.
Are you familiar with the song Bat Dance?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you know the movie Batman.
Yes.
You know that Prince did the whole album soundtrack for it.
Yeah.
So there are two songs featured in the movie, Party Man and Trust. Great, just like fun pop songs.
And they're like Joker theme songs.
They're like a Party Man plays when the Joker's like defacing the art museum. Trust plays when he has the parade through Gotham and is throwing money away. But the lead single from the album was neither of those songs. It was a song called Bat Dance, which is actually 5 other songs that Prince had made before, spliced together along with audio clips of the movie Batman. This song went to #1 on the US Billboard charts. It was a giant hit pop single. And it's not even a song. It's basically, it's like a weird mashup, and it's probably one of like the 5 or so strangest like #1 singles in like U.S. history. It's so weird.
Look at this.
Again, this video from the director of Purple Rain.
How did that ever get to top 1?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
not even a song.
It's not a real song. There are great songs on that album, and yet they released the one that's not a real song, and it was a hit.
Imagine if they had released a real song.
Yeah, seriously, like Party Man, it's a banger. But look, that's the power of Prince.
Yeah.
He could take that bizarre musical experiment and make it a #1 single.
That's right. Patrick, what is your favorite song in Purple Rain?
Oh, okay. I need you to clarify that. I have a favorite song on the album, and I have a favorite performance in the movie.
Favorite
Let's
performance
just
in the
do
movie?
both of those. I think we should just do both.
Yeah. What performance in the movie first?
It is Baby I'm a Star at the very end. I think it's just euphoric. It is like what a way to because I think it's important to note on the actual album, Purple Rain is the final track.
Makes sense.
But they were smart. It's like we want to send the audience out on a high. So we're going I Would Die For You, then Baby I'm a Star. And, I mean, his dance moves in Baby I'm a Star, his weird little shuffle across the stage when he's moving his hands around his head. It's the best. It's so good.
Hey, I ain't got no money, but I'm rich on personality. Hey, check it all out. Baby, I know what it's all about. Before the night is through, you will see my point of view. Even if I have to scream and shout, oh, baby, I'm a might not know it now. Baby, I'm tired.
Any movie that's willing to give a full close-up of a man's ass as it twerks, only Joel Schumacher would have the audacity outside of this. I love it.
Yep. I will say favorite track on the album is actually Computer Blue.
Where is my love life? Can't believe the mother something wrong with the machine. Where is my love life? Where has it gone? Somebody please tell me what the hell is wrong. Till I find the righteous one. Computer Blue.
What makes that one? Because that one's actually surprising to me. I don't know why it is, but it feels just so different.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's obviously the amazing Wendy and Lisa intro.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just, I've always really, I mean, it is, to be clear, Purple Rain is one of my 3 favorite albums of all time.
Yeah.
I think for me, my least favorite song on the album is The Beautiful Ones, which is an amazing song. So, there's no dud. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it changes day to day, but Computer Blue is kind of my dark horse choice.
Fair enough. I think those are 2 very good songs. Sadly, When Doves Cry, favorite scene in the movie, favorite song on the album, good song. I feel like no one's gonna fight me on the easy answer.
Dig, if you will, the picture of you and I engaged in a kiss. The sweat of your body covers me. Can you, my darling, can you picture this? Dream if you can, a courtyard, an ocean of violets in bloom. Animals strike curious poses. They feel the heat between me.
It's a normie choice, but it's not a bad one.
It is such a great song. It's it's so funny to me that arguably the most famous song on the album in the movie is not performed. It's played over a montage. That is the most music video-y the movie gets, because there's all this footage from deleted scenes, and there's just shots of him just posing by the lake, just standing there with his really wide stance.
Purifying himself.
It's just that's just a music video in the middle of the movie where he's thinking and feeling things.
Hell yeah. And Andrew, what about you? What's your favorite song in the film, on the album, all the above?
I already said "Let's Go Crazy" is my favorite.
Can't fight it.
Just in general. So that's it. That's the one.
That's fair.
And
And
argue with songs about looking for purple bananas.
Bree,
It's
do you have
good.
a favorite Prince song just so that I can hear what you think?
Favorite of like all time?
Yeah.
I don't know. Raspberry Beret comes to mind because it's just a good song, but I'm sure there's another one in there.
Fair enough.
Raspberry Ray is very good.
Are you guys familiar with P Control?
Only from R.
Control.
Kelly.
This is
The Jokeman.
yeah. After this is done, listen to P Control. It's on the Gold Experience. It is incredible.
Okay.
It's a real good time.
What is our overall thoughts on Purple Rain and our cheese rating? Andrew, why don't you start us off?
Sure. I have like mixed opinions because I feel like it's a sloppy in some places, but really well crafted in others. But honestly, I think if you like Prince even a little bit, it's a fun watch. It's fun enough that I'm gonna say I'd say check it out. There's some good stuff and there's a lot of great songs and good performance shots. So I'm gonna give it a cheese rating of Cheesecake Funk, which is a cheesecake place in Minnetonka, Minnesota,
Heck yeah.
which is where you should purify yourself, Lake Minnetonka.
You're not incorrect. All right, Patrick, do you get a vibe of what our cheese rating is? Like, literally no criteria. Any cheese you can somehow justify is your cheese rating. But what is your overall thoughts on Purple Rain?
So I would like to apologize right now for monopolizing so much of this episode and just talking over everyone about. Look.
How dare you talk on a podcast, Patrick? What the fuck do you think this is?
You know, I'm
Unbelievable.
I never get to talk about Prince on podcasts, like, ever. And so I got. This is what, like, you know, you throw out a bunch of good, like, options that I could do. Mm-hmm. I was also like, I was really tempted to be like, okay. I feel like it's an obvious or common thing for like, oh, like a male movie YouTuber comes on but he's not going to talk about like a classical musical where people burst into song. He's going to do some modern thing because he doesn't like musicals. I love musicals. Yeah. I was very tempted to do like, I don't know, The Bandwagon or something. And then I was just like, but I can't resist the urge to talk about Prince.
Did you see what Mikey Newman came in and talked about?
No.
He talked about the Aristocats kids with us. It was a blast.
What a mess that Aristocats Kids was.
You know, so we're not the regular movie, The Aristocats.
Yeah, no, we didn't do that.
No.
There's what is The Aristocats Kids?
They did a 30-minute truncated version for children to perform of the Aristocats.
And we watched one of those.
Yeah,
so we watched children perform.
Because if there is a stage version, I want to focus on the stage version. So he's like, I really like the Aristocats. It's like, can we focus on the Aristocats Kids? And he said, sure. And we did. And that's an episode. And I think it's one of our best episodes. It's so good, so wild.
Wow. I mean, I love Mikey. So, wow. Anyway,
sorry about that. But
no, I'm genuinely curious about. I've got to listen to this episode now. Anyway, I think you know my thoughts on Purple Rain. I think the sheer genius power of the music and the performances and just the vibes on this movie. This is also, I think, we didn't really talk about. I think it's a really good looking movie. I think it's really well shot. I just think those, for me, erase pretty much any flaws that it has as a film. I think it rules. It made me a Prince fan. Big fan of this film. And to me, it is just like a delicious fresh slice of goat cheese on a cracker.
Ooh, goat cheese. You don't see that one very often.
No.
I just had some before I recorded this.
Goat cheese is good.
I had some goat cheese while I was watching
denying
Purple Rain today.
Can't blame you. Goat cheese is great. Bree, what'd you think of our discussion and your cheese rating of that?
It was a wonderful discussion. I'm so happy this was the episode I came back to. I love Purple Rain. It has a special place in my heart. It's one of, it's a movie that gives me good memories with my mother. So I'm going to give this a Cypress Grove Purple Haze cheese, which is a fresh goat milk cheese with lavender, which I see like the feminine, and fennel pollen, the masculine.
All the gender.
All the gender.
Prince is so
One
gender.
star.
1 star.
Thanks, Patrick.
Great reading. Great rating. Put a lot more effort into it than Andrew did. So
Oh, get out of here.
I have complex feelings about Purple Rain, where I both loved, like, my highs were all the way up to the roof, and my lows were really low, too. So, in the end, it hits in the middle, where I'm like, I will watch this quite often, but I think I'll watch it in the format of clips on YouTube, where I'll watch moments and segments a lot, but I don't imagine myself revisiting the movie very much.
Fair.
Now, I understand every
Wait.
single bit of praise it has ever been given by Patrick. It all makes sense. I agree with you. But on the other hand, I can't imagine myself watching it very much. What were we going to say, Patrick? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, I was going to say, well, just wait until I come back on the show to cover its sequel, Graffiti Bridge, which I've
Bridge, I was gonna
which I've
ask.
never actually seen.
It's going to be like the Funny Girl sequel that nobody knows about, where they're like, oh, that exists?
Yeah. I've never heard great things about Graffiti Bridge, and so I've just kind of put it off forever.
It was nominated for 5 Razzies.
Well, to be fair, the Razzies are a bunch of bullshit.
It kind of is, because there's stuff that gets nominated for that's actually like really good. So.
They don't watch the movies. They just
They follow the memes, baby.
exactly. The Razzies have always sucked.
Yes, I agree. Shelley Duvall really got slandered. And so did Popeye. Popeye's a good goddamn movie.
Popeye is sick. I love Popeye. Gig.
But the only cheese rating I can give this is from Fescalini Cheese Company. It is the Purple Moon wine-soaked cheddar. And this is
Oh my
just
God.
like cheddar that's covered in wine, and I feel like that's a good vibe for whatever this is. Like, two things that shouldn't work, and it's not for everyone, but if it's right for you, it is probably the best thing in the world.
I feel like cheese and wine usually do go together, though.
Yeah, but you don't mix it together into one object.
Patrick, have you had
Why
wine this whole
not?
time?
Oh yeah, this entire time.
Do you have
jealous.
cheese?
In the next room. I should go get some cheese and just drop it in the wine.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
Make your own.
Also to be clear, don't worry. I'm not drunk. This is my first glass of wine of the night. I'm not going to be a slob and just like roll in here.
is it
like,
Coppola
Yeah,
wine or
imagine
TCM
somebody-
wine?
It's TCM
Just
wine.
imagine somebody coming in here and being a slob, drunkenly drinking wine.
I
spilling
don't
it on
need you.
themselves. Can
I don't
imagine
fucking
that?
need this, Andrew.
I know you're attacking Jess. I know you're attacking Jess, but I also feel attacked.
I was literally sitting here like thinking, man, Patrick's got wine. I better get wine for the next recording, and now I'm going to think twice about it.
Yeah, I have a lot of TCM wine in my apartment that I'm trying to get through.
Hey, it works, and your video on it was great. Patrick,
you.
thank you for joining us. I hope you had fun, sincerely. I hope you didn't feel like you were on the defense the entire time. I really am grateful you came on.
I was thrown off a little bit at the beginning, and so I went really hard, like right away. And but no, I had a great time. This was a fun, lively discussion. Look, any time when I get to introduce people to the Bat Dance music video is a good time as far as I'm concerned.
Heck yeah. You have a lot of wonderful things out there on the internet. Please promote them so anyone that's not aware of them can find them.
Okay, you can get a lot more of me talking about movies over at youtube.com/Patrick H Willems, or just Google Patrick Willems. The only other guy that comes up is a Belgian rower, so I'm the one that's not him. Also, I made a movie, feature-length film that was really hard to make, and so please make it to validate all of the time and effort I put into it. It's called Night of the Coconut. It's a musical.
It is a musical. I was going to bring that up.
I've made a movie that is a musical, so therefore it is relevant to plug on this podcast. It is available on the streaming platform Nebula. Yeah, you can go watch it there. And when does this episode drop?
I think next week.
Okay,
next
cool.
Thursday.
And the next season of my videos on YouTube will begin in September.
Heck yeah, that's exciting. Super excited for all that. Congratulations on you and all your continued success. I appreciate your time. I'm going to soft pitch what you should, if you come back on, there's something I desperately want to expose you to since you exposed us to Bat Dance. I want to expose you to the Superman musical directed by Hal Prince, the same director as Cabaret.
I know who Hal Prince is.
Oh, yeah. that was like his first project as director. He directed It's a
Superman.
Bird, It's a Plane, Superman.
Oh, I've heard of that. I didn't know how Prince did it.
Yeah, that was his big first like step into musical theater. It was a big failure, but they did do a fully done pro shot, and there is one hit song from it that like got played on Pillsbury commercials and all of that. Has nothing to do with Superman, just a song called "You've Got Possibilities." I would love to hear how comic accurate this show is.
Got possibilities.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I am genuinely intrigued.
Well, it's that or Graffiti Bridge. So.
Yeah, well, you hear the phrase "one for us, one for them." All right. Speaking of one for us, one for them, thank you guys for listening to our podcast. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher at Musicals with Cheese. We're on we're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, Patreon Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We have a patron-only podcast called Patreon with Cheese. We might still be covering Tangled the Musical on there, or we might just stop that because I hear the creator of that show is now writing for the Daily Wire, which I don't really want to promote that then.
Oh no!
Yeah, that news dropped this week. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. You the fucking bomb, Juliet. This show is produced by the incredible, the wonderful, one of my favorite people in the entire world, Brianna Jones. Our theme songs were created by Robin Nash of IOU Music UK. Go send them some love and commission them. They need work. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for talking so much shit about the Bat Dance. All right, folks. Is there anything else we got to say before we wrap this on up?
Did you know
No.
that there is 127 photos of Prince Charles eating cheese on Getty Images?
I did not know that. Holy shit.
That's news.
This changed everything.
My life is richer now that I have this information.
Would you like to see one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
End this on a right note.
This
I
is really good
downloaded
for an
it.
audio medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Well,
makes
this
him
is
want to
really
join
just for you.
Patreon, Patrick.
It's really is just for us because we're gonna cut this out right here.
No, leave it in.
Actually, you know what? People will probably stop listening by now anyway.
No,
so-
they haven't.
No,
Probably.
we did that experiment, and I got a lot of
Can you see my
messages.
screen? Let's see.
Yes, I do.
This is it.
That's the good shit. Yeah.
Oh my
look
God.
at him
There's
go.
a lot of Photoshop possibilities there.
Oh man.
It's like
Eat
Weekend
that
at
cheese,
Bernie's.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Is he still
Okay,
alive?
That's it. No.
All right.
I don't think so.
Oh, damn. No more cheese possibilities for him. On that note, we'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese. Bye-bye. My jungle love.
Rain.
Oh, we know.
You're gonna sing Jungle Love.
Yes.